Hello there. Welcome to another talk, another meditation, a podcast. I suppose it's like radio, I suppose, if you think about it. But today's talk is called Women Always Are Tiny in My Visions, and that's true. This idea for this talk was last week. I've been saying it a lot in my talks lately that last week I get new spiritual awakenings all the time, but some are massive, and this particular day that the idea for this talk came from, it was a day of a massive awakening, and for a while I've been seeing women as like tiny in visions, and this new awakening was showing me my higher self, and it was showing me in this new awakening that I had last week, it was showing me like a perfect ascended version that was a lot taller, a lot bigger, and then I got downloaded that the Nephilim, I've said this in my previous talks, are the 144,000, right? And the women that they went with were blessed because they went with angels, and those angels have returned again. And those angels, what do all the chosen people, the chosen ones, say? They all call themselves sons of God. Exactly what the Nephilim called themselves. So it's just, this is not something I thought about before. I heard about it and stuff, but I didn't really think about it. And then last week I got this massive download telling me about that. And, and for a while I always wondered why women in visions were tiny compared to me, like up to just below my belly button area. And basically, in this new awakening I had last week, I was downloaded quite a lot of things, and this was one of them. And it was I was basically getting shown all different things, and about ascension, about that, if you had angels or giant angels, to make a difference on this planet, they would have had to, I was getting downloaded that they would have to descend, not ascend, but descend. Because you would be, if they were to just land and be huge, everyone would be terrified, you know what I mean? And I mean, it probably caused a lot of traumas anyway. I mean, imagine all the little boys, getting their women stolen off them by real men. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think if you're not good enough for her, then let someone else better. But, probably traumatized them males, and that's maybe that's why a lot of males now are not very manly. Like, if you look at them, they're like little babies. Maybe they're traumatized from when this happened. I read years ago on the internet somewhere that angels were going with people's women and stuff like that. And that's happening again. There's a couple of guys that follow me on Instagram and from India, but they're very ascended. They've been on the path a lot longer than me, and women just adore them, and they just love to be around them, and they're willing to not be in a serious romantic relationship with them, and they're willing to let these guys go with other women. They just want to be around them, and so I've got no doubt in my mind that these guys and guys going through awakenings are the Nephilim. Nothing is, there's no such thing as a fallen angel. Like I've said before, everything comes from source. If angels come down, then source has sent them, right? For a reason, and the purpose is to would have been to wake you up a little bit. And thinking it would do something, but it probably done more harm than good. It might have caused some trauma. When you get very ascended people, like a moment ago, I mentioned those guys on my Instagram that they go with all these different spiritual ascended women, but even something like that, a lot of people are so programmed that they would actually think that them people are bad or wrong because they've been programmed. Anything sexual or anything like that is the devil, and that's the way they've been programmed, when it's not true at all. When you spiritually ascend far enough, you activate, there's videos on the internet with women having energy orgasms. It's nothing to do with, it's to do with ascension and kundalini and twin flames and all that kind of stuff. And so, and height, that's just to do with ascension. Doesn't mean, people in the 3D, if they're tall, that doesn't mean they're ascended. But height is something that comes with ascension. And that obviously will come. But the new earth, I believe that the new earth is the Nephilim returned. They are call it the 144,000 chosen ones, guys ascending now, and the females are the ones that went with them. And it created a bond, I believe. And I could be wrong. I mean, this is just my theory, just a download that I got, and it doesn't mean that it's absolutely true. You see what I mean? The way I look at things is I look at everything symbolically. You see? And height is, I just look at it symbolic, because nothing is really, really real. You see? There is no physical matter, because everything has to come from absolute nothingness, non-existence. So everything's just a dream anyway. You're actually all the little people, but you're all the big people also. You're all of it, because there can only ever be one infinity. But you could say that this dream, if you like, of giants going with women, it's just part of the dream, and it's an example of ascension. Wings, angels, women crazy about them. It's just an example of what happens when you ascend. But to ascend, you've got to do, well, I had this unexpected spiritual awakening at the age of 24. I just had enough of everything, and I really meant it. And then it sparked a spiritual awakening. I didn't even know what a spiritual awakening was then. But what I had to do in that awakening was, you've got to face yourself. You see? And it's only the guys that do that will be the kings of this planet. I was also downloaded last week in that awakening about God, Gaia, that the original is the female, but she created the masculine. And that created a bond, because she's so grateful that she can, have life. And that's why the bond between twin flames is so powerful. And this awakening, I've said this before, it started at the age of 24. I had enough, like I say, 10 years ago, so I'm 34 now. And yeah, it's just an example of ascension, like I say. you know, that's what it is. It's true that you are the infinite all, and everything that we experience is part of the infinite all, but you are that infinite all. And the true source is absolute infinity. There's no height involved. You know, that you could say that's symbolic. It's a symbolic dream. But the true you is absolute infinity. It's that which cannot be defined. Nothingness cannot be defined, because as soon as you define it, it's not nothing anymore. You can't ever have a nothing. Because even if you think black's a colour. It's a form of some type. But the new earth, there's a woman, a very ascended lady on Instagram, a few months ago said to me that the new earth is kings and queens. It's kings and queens that will rule the earth. And that's the people that are ascending now. Call it what you want, chosen ones, 144,000. And last week I was downloading the reason the source sent the Nephilim and not females that were giants is because the masculine side is the god that was chosen by Gaia. That's why they sent Jesus, or a male, because like I said earlier, the female side is forever grateful and sees the masculine as the god, because of the fact that without the masculine there's no chance of life. Just the female on its own, you're not going to have life. And so it was the masculine side, the divine masculine, which made it so that we can have life, you see. And so that is the reason, like I've said, why they sent giant angels, and they were males. And like I've said many times, I believe that the awakening that's going on right now is those giant angels descended and reborn. And their job is to try and bring up the planet's level of ascension in the form of other humans, but they're not actually other humans. And that will explain why women are always tiny in my visions that I have. You see? And I think I'm just going to leave it there. For latest updates, talks, news, research, and much, much more, please do check my website. My new talks are always at the top of my homepage. My website address is www.lovelightfamily.com. Thank you for watching and listening. Thank you.